Good morning and welcome to the program Eyes on Corruption. Today, the 15th day of December 2023, and we are reaching you live from multiple social media platforms, including Facebook, YouTube, and of course, our website, gcsdn.org. And the topic today is Corruption Incorporated Part 2. Politicians with stolen wealth earmarked for election 2023 are crying foul about the cashless policy of the Central Bank of Nigeria. To this effect, I will want to have your take on this as we go on in the program. And for that reason, just sit back, ponder on this topic, and relax while we bring you the intro.
Eyes on Corruption, Global Coalition for Security and Democracy in Nigeria, GCSDN presents Eyes on Corruption, a weekly x-ray of social and political issues. Eyes on Corruption, an expose on issues that bother on corruption-related practices in Nigeria. Eyes on Corruption, informative, educative, and enlightening. Eyes on Corruption, every Thursday, 7 p.m. Nigerian time. Join us on our social media platforms on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and our website, gcsdn.org. Host, J. Ehizefua Ohali.
Good day and welcome back wherever you are watching us from. You are welcome to the program Eyes on Corruption. And we're dealing on the topic today, which is a second part of the program I started last week, Corruption Incorporated, and part 2 of this. Politicians have been known to have stashed away huge amount of money in form of stolen wealth and earmarked such in preparation for the 2023 election so that they'll be able to deploy such resources to enable them win the forthcoming elections, as it has always been the practice in the political sector, in the corrupt political circles. And information had it that because of this reason and so many other reasons, the federal government, in conjunction with the Central Bank of Nigeria, decided to redesign the naira note and bring it into circulation from the 15th of December. And this will have to go in circulation with the same old note until this January ending. So based on that, a lot of people have have insinuated that, well, the reason for the change in currency is to prevent people who have stashed away so much cash outside the banking system, to begin to bring them back, because the government has of the central bank have adduced so many reasons, among which is that too much cash is in circulation and we need to stem the tide of a huge amount of cash in circulation instead of within the banking system that will enable the central bank to be able to regulate. So as part of its regulatory functions of the nation's currency, they came out with a policy to redesign the naira notes and to limit the amount of cash in circulation rather than using instead and to encourage Nigerians to resort to electronic transactions and all that in terms of monetary transaction. And a lot of people have had their positives and negative pros and cons, concerning this very policy that is being turned out by the Central Bank of Nigeria. Many people have adduced reasons from their own, reasoning, and we are supposed to have the new notes in circulation effective today, the 15th of December. But rumors have it, and also confirmed sources have had it, that even ATMs as at today are not, most of the ATMs as at today are not dispensing this naira notes. Rather, they are still dispensing the old notes. So we'll watch out and see how this is going to play out, whether citizens will have the new naira notes. And there are a lot of things that are going to go with this. Because of the recolored naira note, as some people term it, a lot of people may be swindled or deceived in using these new notes, because some denominations have the colors of the old, higher denominations. Some lower denominations have colors of the old, higher denomination, and people who are criminal minded might want to use that to swindle people or deceive people. Giving somebody a lower denomination for the some to deceive the person as if it's a higher denomination. So we need to be wary of all this and be mindful of the fact that these are some of the things that may crop up. Now, the, the Conference of Nigerian Political Parties and the Coalition of National Civil Societies Organizations have raised alarm over plans to truncate the cash withdrawal limit policy of the Central Bank of Nigeria. The Secretary General of the Conference of Nigerian Political Parties and the National Convener of the CNCSOs, that's Coalition of Nigerian or National Civil Societies Organizations, Chief Willie Ezeogu, and the National Secretary Alhaji Ali Abacha raised the alarm on Monday in Abuja at a media conference that the CBN introduced cash withdrawal limit is about to be truncated by the politicians who are currently arguing and saying all kinds of reasons why it should be modified or waived, because they are due to the fact that being the Yuletide season, people will be, life will be made much more difficult for people because of this withdrawal limit. But most of Nigerians are still saying no, because these politicians are only crying foul because of the fact that they have started with so much money in cash, in warehouses, in tanks, in wells, which they plan to use for the 2023 elections to intimidate people, to buy voters, and to influence the election process. But that is another topic for another day. So the cashless policy, as it's done in other climes, is a very welcome development in every part of the world. But I don't know why Nigeria should be an exception. I don't know why Nigeria should be an exception if the necessary enabling environment is created for this policy to thrive and adequate publicity is made about it to endear the lives, to endear the hearts of Nigerians towards this very important policy. I think it will go a long way to sway the assuage the fears of the people. You will recall that very recently the Central Bank of Nigeria's governor came to the Senate, to defend this cashless policy and to enlighten most of the politicians, especially those who are against, these the implementation of this policy. And the central government was indeed in the National Assembly to speak on this. And I will show you a screen on that, and hopefully you will be able to have a look at that. Just let's watch this together. Uh, yeah, hold on a second. There's a video on that I wanted to share. See where CBN, yeah, the CBN, the CNPP CSOs raise alarm over plan to truncate the CBN cashless policies. This was, this was actually what we are talking about. And we do not want a situation whereby people who want to truncate the election, or people who want to unduly influence the election, the process and the results, will be displaying their money, to ensure that they win the election. That is not acceptable. We want a situation whereby we will be able to, go through a peaceful, credible, and fair election. Come 2023 to elect new leaders that will take, you know, the mantle of leadership as a means, as a way of creating good governance in Nigeria. I want to share the screen with you on the on what was happening recently. Just give me 1 minute and I will be back. And that was the CBN Cashless Policy. Okay, I am going to share this. Let's go.
To be in to ensure that these notes are distributed as quickly as possible. People still want to get a feel of it. And I'm glad that a lot of the cashless policy, which the CBN also brought into motion, will not kick off until after Christmas. So all the worry I was having about, oh my God, how are we going to do? Usually we spend money. It's usually a dirty December. How are we going to dirty this December? The worries were invalid. They had been taken care of by the date when this cashless policy of the CBN is supposed to kick in. I think it's supposed to kick in on the 9th of January. So we have a lot of time to ensure that the cash circulates properly and people get to see it, hold it, feel it, and then you can put it back into the bank and let us do this thing wirelessly, okay?
Well, I mean, you guys, you've taken it all away, and I think it's actually, quite fantastic. Well, to speak to some of the issues you raised, Mark, where, I think I remember the CBN governor saying, well, the new notes have been distributed all over the nation quite a while back. And then some of the banks have confirmed that they received the notes about 2 days ago, and that people will begin to have access to them today. The pictures you saw earlier this morning, I'm pretty sure you're still going to see them again. Yes, these pictures were taken this morning. One of us, went around this morning. My producer actually went around this morning, got to 5 different ATMs, and guess what? They were all dispensing these new notes. Perhaps The question then is, what time that the CBN give to say, okay, this is the time of day it'll be?
Some updates from the World also brought into motion. Will not kick.
Okay, thank you very much. That was a quick one I shared just to let you see today being the commencement of the distribution and dispensing of the new naira notes, but still some ATMs have not had these notes to display or to dispense for citizens, and we're watching and seeing how soon that can come up. But in the interim, we still want to assure the people that the policy of the CBN to limit the withdrawal amount, for the withdrawal amount, per individual and per corporations, still holds as at now, and whatever modification that's going to be made to these, people will be made known of that in due course. Coming back to the program, Eyes on Corruption, with the topic Politicians with Stolen Words Earmarked for Election 2023, crying foul about the cashless policies of the Central Bank of Nigeria. What is your take on this? Reach out to us with your comments, suggestions, and fears, worries, and of course concerns. So we will respond and we will bring your points raised to the general public. Okay, now the cashless policy of the central bank, people have termed the new currency to be displayed as redesigned currency or redyed currency or recolored notes, as the case may be, whatever name you want to call it. But it is not yet in the ATM as at today. It is, if it's not yet in the ATM as far today, and we have been told by the central bank of government that the banks have had these notes days or weeks before this day. I see no reason why the ATMs are not dispensing these currencies at the moment. Although we were already pre-informed that these currencies will circulate hand in hand with the old notes until January 31st, until the end of January. So let's keep our fingers crossed and see how this policy is going to play out. But if it is my opinion that if implemented properly, it is actually going to check the excess currencies in circulation outside the banking system, and people should be encouraged. People should be actually encouraged to embrace the transactions, to save our nation, so that politicians hiding so much money in cash will be discouraged, and that practice will stop, because it has been one of the reasons that elections are not free and fair. People use all kinds of means because of the cash stashed away to intimidate voters, to buy voters, to induce voters, and to even gather groups of thugs and buy them, and criminals, and buy them over to disrupt election processes, and even use the money to influence security agencies and INEC staff. It has been the problems. So hopefully, come 2023, if this problem is nipped in the bud, I am sure it will have a very positive influence on the election of 2023, especially now that Nigerians are clamoring for good governance. Nigerians have woken up to a new era where they now think that, well, we must take our destiny in our hands to change the status quo and ensure that we do not continue to wallow in pain, penury, poverty because of bad leadership, because of irresponsible people in government. So we encourage every person to go and collect their personal voter's card to be able to participate in the election come 2023. For this reason, please listen to this advice. Collect your voters.
Nigeria youth are not the one again. Oh. 2023 not far from now. Oh. You when they get mind to the thief ballot box or they give you money to thief ballot box. Any ballot box where you thief for this time. Now another suffer for another 4 years to 8 years. Oh, that be 210. Get sense, oh, Nigeria youth. Get sense. 1,000 you don't set the generation of your children. Me and say Yagbesha they don't the one again. Oh. Go get your PVC. Oh. Nigeria youth, get sense. Allah God use you.
Thank you very much. We must go and get your PVC. If you have no idea as to what to do, there are things you need to do. For example, check your registration status prior to this period. If there are any concerns, you need to approach INEC, to confirm and check and confirm your registration status with your. Then use your voter's identification number and your name and date of birth to locate your registration center, to locate and to verify and check the status of your voter's card. Okay, please, this is very, very important if we want to, change the narrative of bad leadership in Nigeria, and especially now that the youths are taking the bull by the horn to ensure that the 2023 election will be favorable to all and change Nigeria for good. Go and get your voter's card and vote a credible leader in each of the political positions. Right now, among the number of presidential candidates that we have, we are not talking about party affiliation right now, but we're talking about who can we trust, who can salvage our nation from the hands of criminals that hijack the political process all the decades past. We're not talking about who has the largest bullion vans to distribute money stolen. We are not talking about who has been in the political space for how long, but we are talking about who can be trusted, who can take the political will and determination to stem the tide of insecurity, to stem the tide of decadent economic situation, to stem the tide of moral laxity, to stem the tide of corruption in high and low places, both in the public and civil society. This is what we are clamoring for, and Nigerians must be awake to this responsibility to bequeath a greater, a better, and a more solid nation to our children and to our children's children. All the political rogues and touts that have been parading themselves in the political space must be stopped and retired to go back home and leave the stage clean for those that are genuinely interested in saving our country and leading the people to an El Dorado. That is our plan, that is our focus, and that is our interests in this that we do on a daily basis. Please, let us stem the tide of corruption. Let us stem the tide of political thuggery, criminality, kidnapping, and all forms of thuggery in the Nigerian social and political space. We need good leaders who can be trusted, people who with impeccable character, people who do not want to just bear the name of presidents, governors, or chairmen for no reason. People who do not just want to come to the limelight to showcase their stupidity. No, we don't want that. All we want are leaders who can be trusted, leaders who are passionate about the development of our nation and our people, leaders who are passionate about the poverty rate of our nation and want to uplift the people, the society from this quagmire that has been created by decades of political misrule, decades of bad leadership, decades of military incursion into politics, decades of people who have truncated the peace and tranquility, the unity of our people as a nation, or as a people with diverse tribe and tongues, but standing in unity. These have all been eroded in the society because of nepotistic attitudes of some criminal politicians that have found themselves in the audience and found themselves in the positions of leadership for the fact that the honest, genuine, and responsible and trustworthy people have refused to be part of the political class. For this reason, we are encouraging every youth, every right thinking citizen, every member of the rights group, every member of the advocacy group that are clamoring for a better Nigeria, take the bull by the horns, be active in the political process to enthrone the good governance in Nigeria. This is our clamor for today, and we sincerely hope that Nigerians will heed the call and stand tall to ensure that 2023 election does not go the way of the rogues and the professional politicians who have garnered expertise in rigging, thuggery, election malpractices, looting of our treasury, and so on and so forth. These ills must be cleansed of our society, of our nation, of our community. Anybody that has wealth that is unable to account for it, that has no sustainable means that has generated such wealth, must be brought to book. A new government must come to trash all these and sanitize our society. This is the only way we can make a headway. Fellow Nigerians, go and get your voters card to avoid a situation of this sort that I am going to share to you now. We must avoid a situation where thuggery, irregularities, and
kai ka dinga na biyu ka dinga dangwala mu PDP mana ai na wata ma wai ya dangwala PDP an sai mai babur ai APC zo ka dangwala ya kudi ma ba shi babur zai dan na PDP dangwali kadan sa'anan nan anan zaka sa ka bata mana kada Allah ka
yes, we must avert a situation like this. PDP and APC have been known to be veterans in these acts. Let responsible and genuinely passionate people take up places in all the political parties come 2023 and beyond, so that we begin to cleanse the audience table and people with character, competence will be such that will be available for us to as options to choose from in the political processes in Nigeria. Henceforth, Nigerians, wake up, let us sanitize the entire political system, all the political parties, people with character, competence, and expertise, and of course, genuineness of heart and passion to salvage our nation must go into all the political parties so that come 2023 and beyond, we'll begin to sanitize and redesign the system so that Nigeria will survive, and the greatest of all the potentials that we've had as human and natural potentials will be properly harnessed for the development and the good of our people and our nation. Thank you all, so that all the agitations for separation, agitation for this division will be a thing of the past, where every region, every community will be able to aspire to be the best that they can be in the name of unity, peace, justice, and fairness. And Nigeria will be great again. Thank you, and God bless you. As I sign up for today, this is the program Eyes on Corruption, and today's topic is politicians with stolen words earmarked for election 2023 crying foul about the cashless policy of the Central Bank of Nigeria. We must all support this policy to ensure that people do not hijack the election because of the money they have stolen away for the purpose of influencing the election through thuggery, intimidation, or display of wealth, and of course, weaponizing poverty to their own advantage. Thank you. I see you as I come your way again next Thursday, 7 p.m. Nigerian time. This is yours sincerely, J. Ehizefa Ohali, signing off. Peace.